The image of the British High Street is iconic. It is the beating heart of the community, a place of commerce, connection, and civility. But as we stand here in December 2025, that image has been shattered. It has been replaced by scenes that look more like a looting spree in a collapsed state than a shopping trip in a G7 nation. Across the country, organized gangs are storming into shops not with stealth, but with wheelie bins and industrial builders' bags. They are sweeping entire shelves clean of meat, spirits, and formula while terrified employees watch helplessly. This is not petty theft by the desperate. This is systematic plunder executed by coordinated crews using military-grade tactics. They operate with Bluetooth earpieces, they carry weapons, and they possess the terrifying certainty that the police are too stretched to respond. Welcome to the British Lens. Today, we are conducting a forensic audit of the breakdown of law and order in our retail sector. We are looking beyond the headlines to expose the mechanics of a crisis that is costing the economy billions and costing workers their physical and mental health. We are analyzing how shoplifting evolved from a nuisance into an industrial-scale criminal enterprise. We will ask the uncomfortable question that politicians in Westminster are desperate to avoid: has the British state effectively decriminalized theft by inaction, and in doing so, surrendered the high street to the mob? To understand the magnitude of this crisis, we must first contextualize the history and the terrain. For decades, the social contract in Britain regarding retail was simple. Shops displayed goods, customers paid for them, and the police enforced the law against the few who broke it. That contract has been torn up. The shift began subtly with austerity measures that hollowed out community policing, but it accelerated rapidly with the introduction of the £200 threshold for low-value shoplifting, a policy that, while technically repealed, sent a catastrophic signal to the criminal underworld. It signaled that theft was no longer a priority. Fast forward to today, December 2025. The data paints a picture of a system that has been completely overwhelmed. Between April 2024 and March 2025, police recorded over 530,000 shoplifting incidents. This represents a nearly 20% jump year-on-year and stands as the highest figure recorded since current practices began in 2003. But let us be clear, these official figures are a significant underestimation. Retailers and security experts widely acknowledge that millions of incidents go unreported because store managers have lost faith in the police's ability to respond. We are looking at a scenario where crime has become a daily spectator sport. Over 16 million British citizens, that is 1 in 4 adults, have personally witnessed a shoplifting incident in the last 12 months. We must define our terms carefully. We are not talking about shrinkage or opportunistic theft. We are talking about organized retail crime, or ORC. This is a specific term used by intelligence analysts to describe the professionalization of theft. Executives from major retailers like the Co-op have reported a 44% surge in crime explicitly attributed to these organized networks. These are not lone wolves. They operate in teams with distinct roles. You have the spotters, the distractors, the enforcers, and the mules. They target specific high-value goods that can be easily liquidated. This is not about hunger, this is about liquidity. Let us transition into a deep analysis of the logistics of this shadow economy. Undercover investigations have revealed that these gangs operate supply chains that mirror legitimate logistics companies. Stolen merchandise is not merely sold at the local pub. It is taken to sophisticated distribution hubs in cities like Northampton. There, it is sorted, repackaged, and often shipped internationally or sold via online marketplaces. This is a multi-billion-pound industry operating tax-free. The gangs have realized that the risk-to-reward ratio for retail crime is far more favorable than drug trafficking. Why risk a long prison sentence smuggling narcotics when you can steal £20,000 worth of goods in minutes with almost zero chance of arrest? The tactics used are increasingly militarized. We are seeing a disturbing evolution in the level of aggression deployed. While politicians celebrate declining homicide rates, the shop floor has become a combat zone. The British Retail Consortium's 2025 survey indicates a 340% increase in physical assaults and abuse since 2020. We are seeing over 2,000 hostile or abusive incidents every single day. The savagery is shocking. Workers have been attacked with medieval maces, blinded, stabbed with syringes, and confronted with machetes. Tragically, there are reports of workers suffering miscarriages due to the trauma of these assaults. This brutality is strategic. 2/3 of these attacks are directly linked to staff attempting to intervene in theft. The gangs utilize physical intimidation as a tool of business compliance. By establishing a reputation for extreme ferocity, they ensure that store staff and security guards are too terrified to intervene. When a criminal can walk into a store, threaten a worker with a needle, and walk out unchallenged, they have effectively established dominance over that space. It is the logic of the protection racket brought into the aisles of the supermarket. Economically, the impact is devastating. The retail sector is losing approximately £4.2 billion annually. This includes £2.2 billion lost directly to theft, and another £1.8 billion spent on defensive measures like security guards, tagging systems, and CCTV. Ultimately, this cost is passed down to you, the consumer. The Association of Convenience Stores calculates that there is now a hidden crime tax of 10 pence on every single transaction in Britain. This is a 6 to 7% increase from just 2 years prior. In an era of cost of living pressures, honest citizens are effectively subsidizing the operations of criminal gangs every time they buy a pint of milk. The failure to contain this crisis rests squarely on the collapse of deterrence. Despite recent government initiatives like the Winter of Action, the enforcement gap remains vast. In the year ending September 2023, only roughly 14% of shoplifting cases resulted in charges. In over half of all reported cases, police failed to even identify a suspect. Retailers report that police attend only a fraction of reported crimes, and perhaps most damning of all, police failed to arrive in 1 out of 3 instances where private security has physically detained a suspect. This inaction sends a clear signal to the criminal fraternity: the state has retreated. Police forces, gutted by years of underfunding and forced to prioritize other crime categories, have effectively decriminalized theft by inaction. Let us evaluate the geopolitical and social implications. This epidemic is reshaping the geography of British commerce. In areas where theft rates are highest, stores are becoming unviable. When a local convenience store closes because it cannot sustain the losses, the community loses a vital asset. This leads to the creation of retail deserts, where law-abiding residents, often the elderly and vulnerable, are left without access to essential services. It accelerates the decline of struggling neighborhoods, creating a vacuum that is often filled by further criminality. Now, let us project the potential scenarios that could unfold from this point. In the first scenario, we see the fortressification of the high street. Stores will increasingly resemble banks or prisons. We are already seeing this with coffee beans and meat behind locked glass. In the future, entry to stores may require biometric identification, and browsing will be replaced by ordering from secure kiosks. The open, communal nature of British shopping will be extinguished, replaced by a high-security, low-trust environment. In the second scenario, we see the rise of private policing. As the state retreats, retailers will be forced to employ increasingly aggressive private security firms. We are already seeing private detectives being hired to patrol high streets. This privatization of law enforcement leads to a two-tiered justice system, where safety is available only to those who can afford to pay for it, and accountability becomes murky. In the third scenario, we face the normalization of disorder. The broken windows theory suggests that visible signs of crime and antisocial behavior create an urban environment that encourages further crime and disorder. If shoplifting remains unchecked, it signals that the rules no longer apply. This erodes the social fabric, leading to a broader breakdown in civic compliance. If the gangs can steal with impunity, why should the average citizen pay their taxes or follow the rules of the road? Comparing this to international examples, we can look to certain cities in the United States, particularly on the West Coast, where similar patterns of decriminalization and organized theft led to the hollowing out of entire downtown districts. Major retailers pulled out, footfall collapsed, and urban centers entered a death spiral. Britain is currently walking the same path. If the trajectory is not altered, our high streets face an existential threat. So, what is the solution? It requires a fundamental shift in how retail crime is policed. It must be treated not as a minor nuisance but as organized crime. This means intelligence-led operations to dismantle the distribution hubs, not just arresting the foot soldiers. It means the courts must hand down custodial sentences that act as a genuine deterrent. And it means the police must be resourced to attend every incident where force is used or where a suspect is detained. But beyond policing, we must address the root causes. We must acknowledge that the erosion of the social contract is a symptom of a deeper malaise. When criminals can openly negotiate with staff, offering physical safety in exchange for goods, it signals that the state has lost its monopoly on authority. We cannot accept a status quo where the border between the lawful and the lawless is determined by the boldness of a gang with a wheelie bin. To conclude, the siege of the high street is not just a problem for retailers. It is a crisis of governance. It is a failure of the state to perform its most basic duty, the protection of person and property. We are witnessing the transfer of wealth from honest businesses and consumers to criminal enterprises, facilitated by a paralyzed justice system. The shattered windows of our high streets are a warning that the rule of law is far more fragile than we dare to imagine. The British lens exists to bring these critical issues into focus. We refuse to accept the normalization of crime. We refuse to look away as our communities are hollowed out. The security of our nation depends on the rule of law functioning not just in theory, but in practice on every street corner. We need you to be part of this conversation. Do not let this story disappear into the void. Demand answers from your representatives. Support the shop workers who are on the front lines. Stay vigilant in your own communities. If you found this analysis valuable, if you believe in the importance of exposing the hard truths about our society, then subscribe to the British Lens. Turn on your notifications. Share this video to spread awareness. The fight for the high street is the fight for our way of life. Thank you for watching.